Hi. So I have an evening to myself again, um, and I was going to work on a bigger painting because I still have that large one sitting around, not having done nothing with it, and I kind of feel like working on something bigger. Um, I actually feel like maybe doing a mural on the bedroom wall and being really, really big, but that's too much prep and cleanup and just ordeal for right now. And certainly, I haven't even decorated the tree. I put it up, but I haven't done anything with it. So I have a lot of things on the list before I get to anything like that, including laundry, as always. I'm a little behind on, I don't know, whatever. But anyway, so last time I worked on this one, and it kind of, I kind of talked about, um, sort of saw this tunnel. Couldn't quite tell if I was coming in or out. I mean, it's a little bit it's a bunch of things. It's like a Leo symbol, an infinity, and a wave, and there's an egg and whatever. But when I look at it, a little bit of an eye, but it definitely it feels like a portal. That's definitely what it looks like, um, of some kind. And going into it or coming out of it, I don't know, but it's definitely it has that depth, and it kind of fits with my feeling of transition, right? End of year and just I don't think it's really the end of the year. It's transition for me. Um, it's just a life transition, I guess. But the interesting thing is, last time when I was talking about it, I was saying that I hadn't done anything for a while, and I wanted to check in with myself because I hadn't done any of that, and I didn't really, know what might be, the triggers that might be lurking, right? Like things that I wasn't kind of processing or feelings and things like that, and that ends up being triggers. So something happens and I get frustrated, and I'm not in a good place to process that kind of stuff, which is exactly what I'm trying to teach Catherine to do. So it's really no good for me to tell her to do something that I can't handle myself. So it happened. So this all came. It was a series of things. It was like the universe was just saying, like, so, you were arrogant enough to talk about it. Let's see, let's give you a little test. So the other day I went to, uh, she had an appointment, and I had to pick her up from school, and so I was picking her up at lunchtime. So, so I'm kind of looking at this, and I feel like I want to reach for the white. Um, I don't know if this really is it time to do white, and I could half-ass it, and maybe I was going to use this other, but yellow, maybe yellow. This is beige. Maybe yellow. Maybe I could kind of run down the middle with yellow and procrastinate a little bit because I'm just fooling around here until something comes out. But what happened was, it was lunchtime, so little kids, and I had to take her to the orthodontist for the first time. It's not going to be great. So I stopped and got her Wendy's on the way. Um, and I pulled up, and it was like taking forever. There was only one car there, and it was in front of me, and I mean, he was just taking eternity. And I was thinking, like, my first thought was, Scott, like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why are you taking forever? And I thought, no, just there's a reason. Everything is good. You have plenty of time. Trust that you have plenty of time. It's all gonna work out. So, I was all zen. I was all in there. I was fine. Stayed calm. Didn't let that really frustrate me. And then it came to be my turn, and the lady said, it's gonna. I have this many things before the shake. I think she was like the only person there, and I thought, is this gonna be okay? Because I have to get there. And then I'm like, no, it's good. Everything's good. Like, stay calm. Everything's fine. Be cheerful. Like, be extra cheerful for this lady who's, um, kind of stressed and still trying to get things done. Just be extra nice to you know to help her, or to not make her day ugly or whatever. Like, find some positive vibes over there. So I did that, and then I was feeling really good about myself. I was like, yeah, all right, everything worked out, perfect timing, everything was great. You know, she was super cheerful, and I was, you know, conscious of being like extra nice, and tried to be I don't know, pleasant and uplifting, like, and I got to school, and I pulled in, and I didn't realize that there were like preschool or something was picking up at the same time. So there was this line of cars, and I was like, oh great, there's not gonna be anywhere to park, it's raining, it's cold, like what am I gonna do with myself? All worked out, there's a parking space, and I was like, no, don't worry. Worked out though, you know, pulled in, there was a parking space right up front, which normally isn't there. And we had no trouble, you know, getting through the drop-off line, pickup line, whatever. That's some serious business at a school, so that was fine, no problems. And then we got to the orthodontist, and that went well. That was all taken care of. And so there was one other test from a previous appointment, not for the orthodontist, that I had to get taken care of for her. Nothing, you know, just a routine thing. It's kind of paperwork, but we had to go to this other place to get that taken care of. So now see, my feeling is different today. So I gotta get better at holding this. I keep moving it where you can't see it. So from your perspective, this way. Now I'm getting into these little, I'm getting a little more curly, right? Like I feel like I'm, I don't know what, but before everything was very round, and now I'm getting into like a little bit of curl. Can't really see it. So anyway, we get there. I found it. Parking space up front, that was great. And I walked in. It was really dreary looking in there. And you know, I get in line to check in. And I mean, the lady at the checkout counter couldn't have possibly been slower. So she's super slow, and I'm like, no, be cool. You know, you've had, like, everything is working out. You know, I'm now like consciously aware that the universe is I'm just feeling like rewarded, right? Like, be patient, reward, be patient, reward. Okay. So all this time I'm getting rewarded, and now the rewards stop. I'm stuck in this line, and it's just me behind this woman who's, you know, I mean, she was just, they were visiting and very slow about stuff, and she was super patient and had no problem. You know, she wasn't waiting in line, she was at the desk, and the lady working with her was this older lady, and you know, she wasn't stressed either, but I mean, she was slow. She may not have been stressed, but I mean, the lady she was slow. And I thought, you know, you know, the universe doesn't always just give you easy tests. Sometimes, you know, like, I still see it. Stay patient. Hold it together. You know, like Bhante says, it's always an opportunity to, you know, you can meditate at a traffic light, and, you know, loving kindness. So I'm thinking, okay, it's getting a little harder now, but still, so stay there. Then this other guy walks in, and he's not keen on waiting in line, and he's one of those that he doesn't, it's like he interrupts the lady that she's helping, and, you know, jumping past me, who's next, and he's like, oh, I just want to know how many is this, I just need to know, you know, which is, I find that annoying, you know, because it's really a backhanded entitlement of, well, it's not my turn, but I'm gonna sort of make it my turn by, you know, asking these questions. The lady behind the desk was smooth as silk. She was just like, well, I'm working on this right now, so, you know, bye. Like, you know, line forms over there. And she paid him no mind. I can check that later. And he says, well, when I was here before, they did whatever. And she was like, yeah, well, I'll check that when your turn comes. And so, I mean, that was kind of good. But so he kept on, and he's shifting, and, you know, you could just feel the agitation coming off of him. And so, you know, then there's me, right? Like, you know, even telling the story, I'm like, I don't like that you're being entitled, because just entitlement annoys me. Those of you who do it, you know who you are, right? Right. Or you don't until you do it in front of me and I call you out on it. I know. Got a little in trouble with that recently. Anyway. But anyway, so then he was there and he's all shifty, bent down, bouncing around. Not getting on my nerves. Another guy walks in. He's just hanging out, doing his thing. He's not too concerned. Then another lady comes in and she is standing right at this, the center of this automatic door. So now the door is like opening, closing, opening, closing, opening, closing. And I got this shifty guy and then another guy and then and I'm next in line. So why all this bothers me, I don't know. And this lady behind me won't get out of the door. And I'm like, oh, well, she's like, oh, the door's open. I'm like, well, yeah, the sensor's a little touchy and you have to get out of the way. So what does she do? Just keeps moving herself right back in the way and complains about the door open. So I'm getting more. I'm like, I don't know, universe. I don't know if I have this much. I don't know if I have it. So I was like, okay, hold it together. So then I become, entitled and passive aggressive and out loud say universe is teaching me patience today. Teach me patience. Stay with it. But I did. I was like, all right, held it together, breathe, regroup. You're getting beside yourself over nothing. It makes no difference. There's always a reason for everything. Things that are delayed, always a reason. Trust that things are working out in your favor. All these things that I claim to believe and follow. You never know what you really believe until it's hard, right? It's easy to believe in stuff. It's easy to be like, oh, I trust the universe and divine timing, whatever. I trust all of these things. Or whatever you want to call it. I don't like religious stuff. But, that's easy when everything's going your way. It was totally easy when everything was going on time and everything was good. And, I'm getting the parking spot up front in the rain and all that stuff. But now I'm sitting here with, with this other situation. And then, does it get better or worse? What do you think? It gets worse. So maybe better. I don't know. Depends on how you look at it. So I get up to the front and I say, I'm here for this and whatever. And she says, oh, that's on the fourth floor. We don't do that here. I'm like, okay. Right. So I'm like, all right, let's go. Fourth floor. And I get up to the fourth floor. I'm in the elevator now, and my daughter's with me, and I'm explaining. I'm like, okay, you're just, trying to teach myself, and I'm telling her because we're always working on, some of her patience and her not losing her temper and things like that. And I'm like, look, so you're not the only one. Here's me. I mean, adults, everybody has times that they get frustrated and they have some trouble, and they have to really work on holding their emotions together and not getting angry about things that are frustrating. We all do this. It isn't just you. It's not like people don't understand how you feel. So I'm telling her this, and some guy gets on the elevator, and I'm still talking to her. We get off. We go in. Everything's super smooth. I look at the sign, and the sign says they work, even though I called ahead and asked if they closed for lunch. And they said, no, they don't. They did. And we arrived at that desk at the minute that they returned from lunch. They would have been closed anyway. We would have just been sitting there. We wouldn't have had I couldn't have checked in where I was supposed to be. The whole time I was standing there, getting annoyed. Made no difference at all. And all it really did was keep us occupied, I guess, or give us, give me time to think about this lesson while their lunchtime was up. So we get in there and everybody was super nice and it was super smooth, and the technician took care of the test, whatever. I mean, she was like the nicest lady ever. She was so nice. She had this really she had just a great rapport, and she made it kind of fun and really pleasant for Catherine. I mean, it was just a simple thing, but she was so nice. And she had this really cool voice and kind of cadence to her speech that remind like the movie The Matrix, the Oracle. You know how she had this really nice voice, um, and that's what it reminded me of. She had a voice like that, and she was so pleasant and just nice, and everybody was. And then we came out, and this guy's getting on the elevator with us, and he was saying hi and telling us how he just had his 90th birthday, and we walked him out to the car and had a nice chat, and it was just I don't know, there was something about the lesson there, right? The perspective, and a little bit about what you, I don't know, there's a couple ways to think of it. Is it your perception when you're operating from loving kindness and from this point of view that everything is okay? We'll look for the lesson or the good of each of these little frustrations, or just trusting, this will be fine. Use it as an opportunity to practice mindfulness and loving kindness, and practice what you preach, right? Or practice giving, putting good energy into the world. And it just, and then it was like that sort of doing that, it felt like it just unlocked a level. Yeah. And maybe that's what has been happening over the last couple of years, when I was saying like all of this stuff was internal and it was foundation, and it feels like things have really shifted. But it doesn't look like it. I mean, it doesn't look like a whole lot has happened, but it really has, because I think through a lot of effort and some tough spots there that made me have to consciously, I didn't have the luxury anymore of just sort of wandering through life and everything just like, well, it's fine, or I can just ignore this, or I can be negative, and I was just not living in any awareness of what I was contributing, what kind of negativity I was contributing, because I was just so surrounded by it. And it's like being nose blind, I guess. Like, when you're so surrounded by that much negativity, it was just lost on me that I had any role, or that there was anything that I should be doing differently. I was just trying to survive for a long time, really, is all I was doing. It was just surviving. So I didn't have the luxury of, or the necessity, I guess, until a point came that I had enough relief from that sort of survival view that I was able to stop and see that something had to change, and then from there to get the awareness and maybe strength to effect that change, and now to that experience seemed to me to be not just about holding myself together for myself, but to contribute positively to the environment around me by not just not losing it, or not being frustrated myself, but also being, contributing a positive energy around me. And then when I did that, it was like more positive energy just kept coming. And It was pretty cool, actually. It was a pretty cool experience. So that was good. That was all really good stuff. I was just thinking about something else that I was going to say that was related to that. And then today, you know, the pictures come up from, I don't know, whatever storage is. I don't know. Not great with remembering where everything is. I never delete anything, and so then I just have to keep buying more storage. So it's all, you know, the pictures come up in the storage, and I was looking at it, and that's what I thought of. I thought about how I'd been saying that it seems like nothing really has changed. And when I looked at these pictures, it said, you know, 2021. Like December, you know, November 2021. Today's what, December 1st. And I saw these pictures from then, and I had to think about it. I had to think, was that really just 1 year ago? Because I was like, is that? Yeah, it's 1 year ago. Now, part of that I think is because I, you know, I'm writing documents and stuff for work, and you know, so a lot of dates that I'm putting on are for 2023, because, you know, deliverables and things that will go in 2023. So I'm putting that stuff on. But when I looked at these dates, I thought, how 21? And I had to stop and think about it. Like, well, that was last Christmas. And so, you know, that was, I mean, last year was the first year in this house. I mean, there's no other year that we were here. And I'm looking at these pictures of, you know, the cats, and we just got the cats last year. And I mean, it was definitely only a year ago. But it's like, oh, it seems like a lot longer than that. And it seems like when I looked at those, I thought, it does seem really different. It's just so strange. Like, I even thought, like, wow, this is what they mean by, like, you know, did I jump a timeline or something? Because that just seems like it was so far in the past. And honestly, not that much has changed, but it still feels like it does. It's such a strange feeling. I don't really know how to describe it, except that maybe this is what people mean when they talk about jumping a timeline. That, I don't know, it just feels like something, it really feels like something has shifted, that, you know, there's just that 1 year ago. I mean, I think about the stuff that I was doing in fall of last year, and it seems like it was so much longer ago than 1 year. It seems like it was like several years ago. Seems like such a different person. Me, you know, seems like so long ago that I think back on, like, I mean, I'd hate to look at conversations I was having at that time, because I think it'd be a little embarrassing myself, kind of silly things I was worried about at the time. In some ways, and I'm sure I would feel that way about other things, but in some ways it feels like I would look at it like, you know, when you read your yearbook, you know, the stuff that people wrote, you know, and they sign your yearbook, and the stuff that you write to other people. Like, I look at the stuff other people wrote, and I think it's like, oh, is that fun? But I'm sure if I saw theirs and, like, the stupid stuff I probably wrote, like things that I thought really mattered at that time, I feel like that's what I would think of last year. Just irrelevant things and people, stuff like that. It's amazing how things change. And I don't know how I got on that, but yeah. So that was just neat to me, that experience of the other day. When it was happening, I recognized it, and then it was like this immediate gratification of like, maybe I passed the test, and I faltered a little. I mean, I did get annoyed at one point, but I recovered. I mean, I don't think it's the goal of I don't think it's the goal to be perfect and not, get annoyed at annoying things. I think that's the expectation. But, I mean, all the stuff I asked Kat to do, like, stop a minute, think about what you're, like, just stop for a minute and think about your feelings. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to get upset? And for her, it's like, get upset and get in trouble or whatever, and then have a hard time for the rest of the day. That's the kind of thing I tell her. But for me, it's really not that different. It's not that different for me to not get upset and then worry about something all day, or have like a negative experience, or even, just end up sucked into other people's negativity or drama or anything like that. I mean, I have so little drama sources in my life. My life is pretty peaceful. But where I have those little areas, other people have an opportunity to, I hesitate because that is a true way to put it. They have an opportunity to upset me, but it's up to me whether I let that happen. I mean, again, it's still not easy necessarily, because sometimes things just feel urgent, and they're triggering. I mean, that's exactly what I was talking about last time, is having my practices like these talks with myself and random, really non-existent strangers on the internet, having these talks with myself and these little practices. I mean, this is only one of them. My walks, my rowing, and getting enough sleep, and all my self-care and health. Those things matter too. I mean, that's how I work on those things, or that's how I manage those things. It's not like there's no one. It's like anything, like being fitness of any kind, health of any kind, isn't a once and done experience. So whether that's emotional health or physical health, or anything, healthy family relationships, healthy friendships, healthy romantic relationships, anything is it's an all-encompassing thing. You have to take care of those things all the time. So now I'm looking at this part. So I've added some things here. How's my tunnel doing? The part that was catching my eye is this bit of sloppiness in here, right? So now I've added some, wow, look at that. What is it doing? I think I put it on a different setting in the camera, and it just freaked me out because it's focusing. Okay, I know that's probably not freaking anybody else, but it is to me. So that totally scared me. I didn't know it would do that. Okay. It's trying to keep my face, I think. I wonder if I can turn that off. That's like, it bothers me. Okay, I'm gonna push this button and see if I can fix that, because that's like freaky to me. Okay. Oh, it's not. All right, we're just gonna have to live with it. Okay. So hopefully it'll do what it's gonna do, and I'll stay still. But looking at the looking at this part, so this was a little muddy and I was thinking about doing some stuff here. But now I've added, so now I feel like I'm adding, oh my God, that's crazy. I'm not moving, stop. Yeah, so what am I doing here? It's getting more organized, but with a little more flair. I feel like there's some more energy in it, certainly more light. I feel like it's coming out of a darker and muddier place into something that has more joy with the yellow and the orange, and maybe more excitement, and maybe with the detail, maybe it's like more possibility, right? I don't know what I see in there, but it's definitely coming out into brighter times. So I'm gonna wrap this up because it's like I feel like a ghost is zooming in on me. It's just weird. I know. I should get more. I didn't know that's what do that. But yeah, it's almost a little bit maybe like a wormhole, right? Like jumping timelines, that whole concept. Like maybe it's something like that. I feel like there's almost like a little face in here, like the screen, right? The painting. I don't know. And there's like, what is this, like eagle? Remember, I've been having that whole bit about the swirling thing in the eagle. Like maybe there's something of that coming out. So, interesting stuff. Oh my God, that's just crazy. Okay, so that's where we are. Good stuff. And it was really, I mean, I was so encouraged, I think, about, it was like at the end of that whole that chain of, this should frustrate you and this should frustrate you, like that chain of like sort of, I don't know, I don't know if it's really a test. I don't know if it's like I don't think, maybe not even a test, it's more like practice. Like I had all these experiences, these little bits come along one after the other, and usually stacked up that would give me trouble. I would erode, and it's a lot of like what I talked to Kat about. So maybe there was something in there for me to understand how it feels for her, keeping it together when she wants to get frustrated and she's sort of fighting against that. And maybe it was also just to give me some practice at practicing what I preach, what I tell her, taking those lessons that I'm trying to give to her and giving them to myself. It was really good, and it was like little rewards one after the other, which is a lot of how I work with her. Maybe it's just reinforcement that's maybe good for me too. Maybe good for everybody, really. The more I work on these things, the more I kind of think we're all just little kids. There's just not that much difference. We have the illusion of more control. We have the reality of more responsibility. But really little kids. We need the same things. So that's where we are. Here's my purple and this wave or wormhole or portal or whatever it is. So we'll see what happens next. All right. Thanks. Have a good night.